understanding of the earlier decades of Singapore's independence, that we were actually quite persuaded by socialist or social democratic sort of values, right? And you see that in the incredible projects of public housing, and eventually health and education and all of that. Although I think even at that time, we were quite reluctant to embrace a more comprehensive sort of universal social welfare system. That was always something, that was always a legacy, right? An aversion to that sort of thing. But nevertheless, there was a real sense of uplifting the human, and bringing us all to a kind of potential, high potential. But I think the turn, if we can put a sort of point, a historical pivot, the turn probably came around the mid 80s when we experienced, after very impressive growth and high incomes and all of that, where a time when we were described as a miracle economy, right? Asian tiger and so on. By the mid 80s, I think we hit a recession. There was a world recession that brought growth rates down to even negative levels. And I think from that point onwards, you might also think of that point as the transition from 1G leadership, the Lee Kuan Yew's team, to 2G leadership, right? And I think 2G leadership really started to embrace much more tightly, some of the earlier tenets of neoliberal globalization, kind of exposes to the market, and the strong state is there, not to do the work of the market, but to kind of protect that market and facilitate it and use it in its own decision making activities. So I think after that point, we start to see open economy, become one of the most open and competitive economies in the world, kind of positioning ourselves to be really attractive to international investment. And what that also unfortunately means is a kind of diminishing of labor power, right, through the recasting of trade unions and so on. It also means while we still spend on welfare and security, we've kind of tightened the conditions around these things. So, in more critical spaces, we think of this as a disinvestment, like social disinvestment. In a way, I don't think Singapore's quite as bad as that, but we see signs of how, kind of we're building economic infrastructure, and where we have resources and finances for people in need, we put so many restrictions on them that in reality, many people who need it don't get it.